Hey guys, and welcome to my first Final Fantasy XIV video. Today I started streaming Final Fantasy XIV. I made a bunny girl because I think they are adorable, and I literally made her as tall as humanly possible. So today I want to get my thoughts out on how I feel about Final Fantasy XIV in my first day of playing it. Now, I have to admit, I had a lot of fun. I got to level 15 in my first play session. I took my time. I read quest text. I listened to the story. And I played for almost 6 hours straight, really only taking breaks for the bathroom or getting something to drink. So it has been incredibly enjoyable at the start. So I want to get my thoughts out on what it's like to start playing this game. The game actually starts out feeling like an RPG. It has a very similar start to like Skyrim or other RPGs where you are in a carriage and you are going through and you're stopped by guards, and then there's a MacGuffin that sends you on your way. And it actually makes you feel like the world you're in is alive. You're not just in some, lifeless place. And I really like that. I really enjoyed how it made me feel like I'm actually entering into a world. So the next thing is where you start off, the starting area for my character. I started my class as a pugilist, and it starts you in the city of Adon. So one thing that Square Enix has done an incredible job at is actually making this city feel alive. There's, especially here at night now, it feels like I'm in a night market. The lighting is great. I'm surrounded by people. The city is actually alive when you first get here. I'm not in just some low level area with a couple of wolves and gnolls and nobody in but like a couple of NPCs and trainers around. And this is something that when you first get put into a game and you feel like you're part of the world, that's a big deal for a new player. You're not feeling like you're alone. You're not feeling like are just dumped into some sort of emptiness. So the story so far has been, frankly, very politically centric. Political centric, meaning that there is a lot to do with dealing with essentially the oligarchy of the city that we are in. I don't want to give too much of that away, but the story is actually engaging and for I think many makes you actually care about what you're doing. You actually feel like you are the good guy, like you are helping people, you are that type of adventurer. So the story so far has been fantastic. So let's talk about some other stuff. So one, the graphics. Compared to WoW, this looks fantastic compared to WoW. The foliage, just like plants, the cobblestone, the lighting, lanterns, just the small details makes a world of an RPG come alive. And even retail WoW's graphics feel like they haven't been updated in literally decades. The graphics do not look very good. So I have to say that Final Fantasy XIV compared to WoW is killing it, considering that, this game is as old as it is as well. So the next thing when it comes to immersion is the music. As you can tell, it's nighttime right now in the game, and you have this nice, soft guitar music with piano in the background. It feels a little bit melancholy, but it still feels like a bit hopeful. and I really enjoy it. And as you can tell, because there's an event going on, I go through here, and the music changes into the Golden Saucer music, because there's a festival going on, there's an event going on. So when you get inside the event, the fact that the music changes, again, it makes the world come alive a bit better. As a musician, sound and music is incredibly important to me. And this is one way that you can make your characters feel like they are far more immersed in the world, is through sound and through music. So when it comes to making you feel like you're part of the world, making you feel like you are actually taking part, Final Fantasy XIV is doing a very, very good job. So in just a moment, we're going to go ahead and talk about combat. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. Alright, guys. So let's do a little bit of combat. So when you first start playing Monk, for those of you who don't know, I did start by playing Monk. When you start playing like pretty much any other MMO, you basically just start with one ability. As the Monk, you start with your Boot Shine, and it is just on the normal GCD. Now, what's interesting about the Monk is you do essentially have a combo system where you move from one ability to the next. So after you do Boot Shine, it actually does essentially new stances for you to go on. So you go from Boot Shine, it changes your stance into Raptor, in which you can do True Strike. Now, what's interesting is that these abilities do more depending on where you are in relationship to the mob you are fighting. So sometimes you want to be to the side of the mob, sometimes you want to be behind them. Now, of course, if you're the only one fighting the mob, then you can't really move around because the mob is just going to follow you and it's not really going to make any difference. But if you do have a tank, if you're with a group, then you can make use of it. One of the things that I actually really like, at least as a monk, I don't know about other classes at the moment, is that you do actually have a couple ways to sustain yourself. One is a heal that is on a 2-minute timer, which is not too bad because it's a fairly substantial heal. And the other is a instant that makes it so a percentage of the damage that you deal is returned to you as HP, and that is on a 90-second timer. One of the other things that I have been really enjoying is that there is very, very little downtime when it comes to going around and fighting mobs. Your out-of-combat health regeneration is incredibly high, so the action is constantly going. Whereas in World of Warcraft, especially if you are like a warrior, after pulling just a few mobs, you more than likely have to eat and regen your health, or very often have to, if you're a caster, have to drink and refill your mana bar over and over again. And what this creates is this sense of constantly just doing nothing, and it breaks the flow of the game. So while some people might consider this just an easier game because of how much regeneration you have out of combat, I think for especially a Final Fantasy game, it keeps the flow going and it keeps you engaged and it keeps you, frankly, just having fun and enjoying what you're doing. Now, what I'm doing here is called a Fate. They are events that happen randomly throughout the zone that you're in. From what I've been told, the more populated the zone, the more of these fates come up, and you get rewards based on your participation in the fate. either the damage that you've dealt, the healing that you've done, how many mobs that you have pulled. And as you can see, there is progress here. We are 91% done with the Fate. Once it hits 100%, you will get experience and gil based on your participation. As you can see, there's a pretty easy to see don't stand in bad indicator when something is casting. The way that I understand it, as long as you are not in the area when the cast bar finishes, that is all that matters. So you can move back in even if there's like a cloud of dust or smoke on the ground, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, I pretty much did the Fate by myself. I got experience, I got gil, and it was good. So I like the flow of combat. The fact that if you want, you can constantly be moving, constantly pulling mobs, and the downtime is far less than that of World of Warcraft. Of course, you have potions, and you do have food that you can use, which is going to give you benefits. But all in all, the animations for so early on in the game, they do look really nice. Monk does feel like it flows very well, and you are rewarded for doing your combos correctly. And all in all, it has a really satisfying game feel. That's something I talk about in my stream every so often, is how important game feel is. And so far, Final Fantasy XIV is ticking those boxes incredibly well. So I think that's going to do it for just some like initial thoughts about the game. I don't want this to run too long. I am probably going to, well, I know I'm going to stream some more here soon so I can catch up to my friends. I think one of the people I've been playing with is at least level 18 right now, so he's a few levels above me, and stream the story quest. If you guys are interested in checking out me stream Final Fantasy XIV, I stream every single day, normally around 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. PST. I would love to see you guys there. I would love to get to know people in the Final Fantasy community, and maybe you can intermingle with some of the people who also play WoW, and maybe more people will come over and play the game and we can enjoy it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. If you have any questions, you can always catch me over at twitch.tv/the Duke of TBC. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later!